So we're in for a little video today of just a few hours here. I'm just going to quickly run down through here. These drains here need to be cleaned out, so the cattle have tramped them in. They were cleaned out not that long ago, but I'm going to kind of just square up the banks a bit. We're going to put in a bit more permanent paddock posts in here, some creosote posts and that we're going to stick in. So I'm just going to get that cleared, and there's some trees on that far ditch. I'm going to try to get them out as well, like just the ones that shouldn't be in this side as such. So I'll explain that as I go. Have the machine here all kind of ready to go. I'll set the thumb up now in a little while whenever I go to move any bushes or anything like that. But for now I'm just going to stick on the grading bucket just to tidy up the drains. I took the ripper out with me because I'm going to explain what I've done here with this for driving posts. I've bored a hole in the back of this, and I've set up a little bracket. You can see it roughly in there, and this pin here goes into the end of the ripper, and it can be used for two things then. So we'll be able to drive the post with the flat edge of the ripper here, and we'll be able to pilot the hole in the ground first with this here by just pushing this into the ground, because we have a lot of stones in this area. We want to make sure that we can get a post down instead of trying to drive it and then snapping the post. So that's the plan today. So I'll throw on the video here now while I'm tidying this up here, and sure we'll go from there. come the one. So speaking earlier on about how I modified the ripper to be able to drive posts with it. So we have probably just short of 2 feet of kind of a pilot for driving posts. So what I'm going to do, all I do here then is just give this a quick nip, hold that with my hand and give it a nip, which I can't really do holding the camera, but you get the idea. I just simply nip that up, and all I had to do there was weld that plate to that, and that plate's not going to impinge me on any other problems. It's not going to give me any issues. It's just literally there for that reason, and it won't give me any bother then whenever I'm using this as a ripper, and that there wouldn't weaken that. So it's just enough just to hold it. So just to push it into the ground, get a pilot for the post, and then we're going to try, and then we use this side of that to push a post in. So we'll see how that goes now in a couple of minutes. Just going to kind of get set up here. So we'll just push it down here now, I think roughly here somewhere on over the post, so I can kind of start made. It seems fairly soft there actually. I don't think it was very straight there either. We get used to it. So we'll just hold it up now and see where we're at. So there's my pilot there, just somewhere here. So I'll be able to put a post in there now, hopefully. So grab a post. I have larger posts here mainly for barbed wire. So these are the 6 foots. These are 6 foot posts, and they're mainly for barbed wire, but we'll use them as a strainer for the electric fence on each end. And then these are going to be the actual electric fence posts here. They're 5 foots, 80 mil. This is 6 foot, 100 mil. So, like so. So I guess we'll see how that goes. Don't know which way is better, whether to put it at the flats that way or the other way. It's flat edges. But we'll see anyway. I'll just drive one. I'm just going about to just do a test and push this in and see how it goes. So the machine doesn't have. It's very hard to see whether you're level or not. So I'm just going to have to go out here now, and I'm going to have to do it by eye on the other side. I just need somebody to help me, but I just don't have anyone at the moment. See it from your cab whether you're straight or you're not, but you can't see it on the other way, so it looks pretty good. Let's try and keep it straight. Pretty good. But you want a little bit of a pull back on it anyway. No harm, the wire's probably going to. Fairly happy with that. I might go down another little bit for it, but it's pretty good. Be close to 2 feet of that post on the ground, so, and we don't really need it that height, so I'm just going to use as much strain, much of it as we can to. So that should be that one. We'll leave it at that, and we'll start off when we start putting in the rest now. So this will be the first of a video in a while, I suppose. This is going to be well of the any digger work, I suppose, for anyone who wants to see it. There's a few requests, people wanted to see the machine going again. So but I'm on the hammer here now, so I recently piped the digger, and I'll probably go through that at some stage, but the digger's all capable now, I suppose, of I can do whatever I need to do with it now in terms of auxiliary oil. So this is a project that's been going on for a long time. This has been laying here for a few years now. It was a lot higher than this. We took off whatever loose rock we could off it at the time, and then the rest was just left it was too hard to take away with anything else, even tear it or rip it. So instead now I'm going to have to start breaking it out. So it's going to take a little bit of time, and it'll be a busy couple of days here now. Obviously, whenever I get all the rock broke out, I'll be using the screening system I built a while back. It's obviously all rusty because it hasn't been used in so long, but it'll be to separate out all the rock and into the lighter to a little bit bigger, to the biggest come off the end here, and then I can use it for whatever I need to use it for around the farm and that, and I build roadways with it and drainage and all that. So yeah, and see where it goes from there. I'm not sure if you can hear me enough alright over the noise, but this stuff here is actually fairly loose. It's kind of a lot of dirt mixed in with it, but there's some of it then is a completely different story. I'm just trying to get an edge toe here, so you don't want to get this all loose in this edge here, and then I'll make my way into the larger stuff. My aim is to break out as much rock as possible in a small as possible size, because the smaller it is, the more manageable and more usable it really is. The bigger it is, it doesn't be just as usable or as nice to work with, I suppose. See, there's some of that is very big, and that's just the way it'll be, but I keep breaking as small as I can in small bits, so I'll get as much small stuff as I can. The ripper tooth as well, so whenever I might be finished with this, I might run across with the ripper tooth. It might take more, or I'll see. I'll probably gather it up in the bucket first, and I might even I'll see what, if there's anything that's it seems loose enough, I'll go out with the ripper tooth. If not, I'll just I'll go back to the hammer. There's quite an area here to cover, so probably going to take a while, and quite shortly I'll probably set up the camera on a bit of a time lapse, just going through it. I suppose it's the easiest to give everybody an idea of what's happening. Back here a couple of weeks later, and we're moving a wee bit of this rock around. I'm trying to get it over to the screener so I can screen it out and separate the lighter stuff so I can use it a wee bit better while this is going to walk me over. Tight on space here. Load down. Try it around this way. Try to keep loading here. I'm sure you can see the digger behind me. So that pile I gathered up a few minutes ago. What a lot broke out with the hammer. And I also have to run across it again with the ripper because there's a lot of it loose, but it's not just loose enough for the bucket, so you just have to go across it with the ripper and free it all up. So, Jimmy there, and we'll go and load it. very dry spell of weather, and it's literally after being very heavy showers. Everything is just pouring the mud. I've showered for probably about between 10 and 15 minutes, and it was extremely heavy, so it's keeping the dust down. That's about it. You can actually still see the rock here so dry, and the clay, the little bit of clay that's in the rock there is so dry as well. That was actually covered by the time the shower came. Everything here was just dust, and now it's just turned to mud, sticky mud, so it's fun. Separated it as best as possible, which I will. I've done before, so I've plenty of uses for it when it's smaller. When it's bigger, not as much use for it, but definitely is great for filling up certain areas or even large drainage. I could spend a while transferring this with the bucket of the digger, but this is just, I think this is easier because all the rock just came from down below me here, and I just transferred it up here. So, very, very rough, and you don't like that way it landed in around the tyre there, because it's just liable to cause problems. But that's it. Keep loading at this to get it over the screen, and then I'll do another video of me screening out some rock. I'm sunglass now, putting it through the screen. I use this bucket because the rock's very hard on the other bucket, and I just don't want completely destroying it. It's only a loose screen anyway. Once it's kind of screening some of it, it's good. Just don't really want. Don't want it too bad. You contaminate it with bigger stones in the front. Trying to get the lighter stuff through the front. Don't mind an odd one. As you can see, it separates the small, then the wee bit, a little bit larger, and then into whatever's left is off the end. So you're looking at probably 4 to 5 inch on the second bit, maybe 2 inch on the first bit. So you get a lot of dirt and clay and stuff, and smaller gravels in the front bit, which is good for certain jobs because the clay that's with it isn't really clay, it's or even topside or just like a channel or hill or whatever you want to call it. with this screener is actually unloading it. So this machine is actually on the bucket I have. The buckets I have for the nearly too big for going in underneath it. So I really do a division in the centre. Because a division in the centre will be easier as well. But you'll see when I go to start unloading it, I'll just push it out to one side and I'll just keep loading. Try and get as much as I can through it before I actually have to take stuff away. And that's just the way I walk it. It's not ideal, but it works. Took a while to get this screener right too. When I started, I made it and the angle actually wasn't steep enough on it. I think the angle on it might be around I'm thinking close to 40 degrees. I wouldn't say it's just a full 45, but it's close to 40 anyway. I think it's supposed to be at 35. That was what the original design was over, so I put it at 35, but I realised when I got it here and started to put stuff through it, the angle wasn't enough for the material to flow, so I had to put more of an angle on it. It works really well for soil when the soil's dry, but yeah, not when it's wet. Obviously, it's wet, it's a disaster because it just sits on the top of it. And obviously it works pretty good for rock. I'm just going to keep going at this now. I'm just going to keep going through this pile, see if I can get most of this through, because when I do, whatever I have separated from that is probably going to be a good chunk of what I need to do in my few jobs. And again, I have to go over there and strip more. I'll go stone. Get the idea, so I'm just going to keep doing this, and then I'll do a video of me when I'm clearing out from underneath. So I start to clear this away now. Some of this is probably a little bit smaller than I think, so I might actually get the big bucket to take out some of the big stuff. rather put some of that small stuff through the smaller screen again. Decide now where I'm going to group this. Probably going to put smaller to the bottom, bigger to the top. Because the bigger, the smaller, I'll be pushing the smaller out there, so bring it back around maybe. Getting some smaller stuff back through that, as you can see, so I have to do that just to clean it again as much as I can. So it just comes down the screen so fast you lose a lot of it. So this is great drainage stone, so like brilliant for putting into large drains, and there's never any water going to be stopped by putting that in the hole, so the water's always going to flow through that size of stone, no matter what. It's definitely, in my lifetime anyway, it's never going to fill up or block up. So bit of a process, but at the end of the day we've all this rock here and it's free. It's our own rock, so it saves spending a lot of money buying in rock, because when you don't need it, at the end of the day we need to get this out of the field. This rock's exposed, and might as well use up our own material instead of buying in stone and spending a lot of money on stone. A small amount of time it takes me to pick it up and screen it out, and a bit of fuel is very little cost, so might as well. machine was probably the last machine I was actually using with this job, and it was the same. Try it, do what you do. Bad position here, I'm trying not to rock all around me. It's not an ideal situation, it's actually very annoying, but I'm trying to be as easy on the machine as possible because the rock is very hard on the tracks. So that's what I'm talking about here, right? So this is my situation here, and I'm standing in underneath this at the moment, so you can see. So at 6 foot high, you're halfway up this second bit, so that's how low it is, but on the upper end it's very high, so things like that happen sometimes, but the other rocks will knock it out. So this is the small kind of material I have here with this. I don't really want to put my hands in it because it is wet, but it's actually really good material for packing. It just packs in perfect. Track this in, it never moves. So and then this here being a little bit cleaner, perfect for drainage work, things like that. Yeah, so it works. So I'm just going to go down along here now. I'm going to pull all this back here, tidy this all up here again, pull that stuff back out of the way, pull this maybe down a little bit further so I give myself a little bit more room, because when I go to push the next mount out, it'll be up against this and I won't be able to push it out. And then I'm just going to keep going. So just, if any of you are interested, that's all that is. So this is box, it's heavy gauge box, and this is angle, 40x40 angle, and I've cut a slit in the box right across on each one, set them down into it and weld them in. Now you can use a T iron for this, but T iron's hard to get, because when you get your stone coming down, what can happen is you can wedge. So what I've done is I've put an angle like that there to meet them to meet each other, so to make sure that the stone can always have an open side to fall against. If it has two flat sides, it can get caught. Again, you have a flat side and you have an open side, so it's well twisted and bent at the top from dropping the stuff on it, but it still works. It still works, doesn't give any trouble. So I'm sure now by the time I have a lot of this stone put through, it'll be a lot of wear on it, it'll have made its money back, so I'm not worried about it. It only cost a couple of €100 on steel, so we'll see how it all goes.